What's up, guys? Welcome back to GameSpot's Things You Missed. As always, I'm Tim Geddes, and this is Nick Scarpino.
Hello,
we're
Tim.
from Kind of Funny. Today, we're looking at Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the new trailer set in the Harry Potter universe.
We're back, baby. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Let it in, baby.
Faint echoes.
Harry Potter.
So you're the Harry Potter guy of our group.
Out of our group, yes, I love Harry Potter. I'm glad that we're getting more Harry Potter because more Harry Potter is always good.
It's more magic.
Always a good thing.
Yeah.
And this trailer is chock full of goodies here.
Okay.
For any Harry Potter fan, right?
Let's get right into it.
Let's jump right into it. Okay, so we start off and we see, or rather we hear, the famous incantation, Lumos Maxima. Now, not exactly famous, but it harkens back to the beginning of Prisoner of Azkaban when Harry's sitting underneath his blanket and practicing that specific charm.
Yes.
Or that incantation of a charm, I should say. And of course, then it kind of blows up when we see the Prisoner of Azkaban logo. And this, of course, here, let's pause right there. These are some amazing magical streaks. Now, the first time I looked at this, I was like, okay, that looks a lot like the Patronus spell. That famous defensive maneuver that Harry Potter does.
It's
but
not
it could
the
be
Lumos
just
Maximus?
it could just be the Lumos Maximus.
Got it.
spell
Okay,
as
okay.
well. But that usually generally, lights up the entire room. I don't know that we've ever seen it with necessarily with streaks like
and
this.
stuff like that.
But
yeah.
this is very, very reminiscent of Harry Potter.
But you're spot on. This is very reminiscent of that opening scene of Prisoner of Azkaban, and I like little homages like that. So this is not necessarily a prequel series. What is this exactly?
This is an extended sort of story in the world of Harry Potter, right? So this is happening roughly 70 to 80 years before the Harry Potter series starts. This is happening in the 20s. Famously, this is it centers around, we're going to see him shortly, Newt Scamander, who is a magizoologist. That's a long. Try saying that word 3 or 4 times.
Magizoologist.
Basically, he's a zoologist in the magic world.
Got it. Okay.
And he goes around. He's been commissioned in 1918 to write a book called Fantastic Beasts
and Where to Find Them. Oh, right. It all comes together.
Which is actually comes out roughly a year after this story is supposed to take place. So let's keep going through here. So we're seeing this, of course, the Warner Bros. Logo. We're about to fly through it like we always do.
Of course.
We love to do that.
We're getting in.
And the first images of things we're seeing here, let's pause it right here. Now this gets me very excited. And here's why. Because when I was a kid, a wee boy of probably about 20 to 25,
Got it.
I was reading Harry Potter.
Yes.
And I always wondered what the wizarding world would look like in America.
Yeah.
They've made allusions to it, and they've talked about, the president of the United States and things like that. So we exist.
Yeah,
It's not like America
exists
doesn't exist
in Harry Potter world.
Okay. It's just so much of it was caught up in the UK, and that's fine. But now it's coming home. It's coming home. And so we're seeing for the first time here. This is one of the main characters, soon to be, later down the line. I think this is the love interest for Newt Scamander, and eventually going to be his wife. Not really huge spoilers there.
How do you know that? Is that from the Fantastic Beasts book, or is that from Harry Potter?
That is from Harry Potter because they have eventually, well, I guess it's probably sort of expanded universe at this point, but eventually their grandson marries Luna Lovegood, who was a main character in Harry Potter.
Okay. So, but I mean, in the Harry Potter books and movies,
we don't really see these characters.
Okay.
So in the Harry Potter books and movies, they read the book Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a textbook, basically, given to them, I believe, during the Sorcerer's Stone. It's a first-year textbook.
Okay.
And you get it. It's sort of a reference guide to where to find these fantastic beasts.
Got it. Okay.
Hippogriffs and basilisks, things like that.
It's written by this Newt guy.
It's written by Newt Scamander.
And so he's visiting America right now.
So he went to Hogwarts, graduated Hogwarts, visiting America, and he brings the suitcase that we're seeing here.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a suitcase that he has brought that is filled with
Fantastic
beasts.
Ooh, I know where to find them, Nick.
You do know where to find them. Now, so presumably, this suitcase has an undetectable extension curse on it, which is what was famously used throughout the series. We saw it, during Goblet of Fire when they were at the Quidditch matches and they walked into the small tent and all of a sudden it was like a mansion. Hermione Granger used it later in the series in the Deathly Hallows where, she would just keep pulling things out of this little tiny bag, like pictures, swords, all that stuff.
Got it.
And so we've seen this before, but we assume that once, there's more room in that case than
meets the eye.
Let's keep going here. And so we're seeing for the first time, some text here. 2016. Yeah, what's up, boy? We're gonna get this, but there we go. So we're seeing for the first time this, what the American Wizard Association might look like. And this is the Magical Congress of the United States of America.
Which you see on the emblem.
In the crest right behind them, right? Now, a couple things to point out here, something that you pointed out, which is awesome. One, it looks like an eagle, but also a little like a phoenix.
Exactly.
Okay.
We really kind of see it on her chair behind her too. It's clearly fire underneath this eagle phoenix thing.
Right.
Now, obviously, America, there's a lot of eagle symbolism
Right.
being
We
used.
love the
Harry
eagles
Potter,
here.
a lot of phoenix symbolism.
symbolism.
So it's pretty cool. And what also I found really interesting is the amount of stars on the thing.
And you counted the stars.
So I counted the stars, and so at this point, because it's the 20s, there isn't the 50 states yet, like fully in there. So it's only at 48.
Okay.
So like that's represented here. But what I find really interesting is that in the eagle, there's not that many stars, but you can find the others above him, kind of scattered. I don't know what this means. I don't know if there's a difference between maybe there's magic in some of the states and not the others, or I don't know. I'm totally just stretching here, but like there has to be some symbolism of why the stars are separated.
Gotcha. Now, so we're seeing Porpentina, who was one of the main characters here, kind of presenting to this Congress, hey, there's something wrong.
Now, is that the president?
That should be the president, yeah.
Okay,
we're assuming that's the president.
So do we
Let's go back real
assume
quick.
that it's the president of magic?
Yes.
Or
so
is
we
there
assume-
another president, or is this the president?
We assume that she is like the minister of magic.
Okay.
Like we assume she's basically the head of whatever governing body, which in this case is probably the Congress of the United States, of the Magical Congress, rather. She is the head of whatever this governing body is.
But there is a president of America.
There is a president of the United States. So for all intents and purposes, in the I don't know who the president. Colin would kill me. I don't know who the president was in the 20s. But for all intents and purposes, during the Harry Potter era, it was whoever the modern day president was.
Got it.
So this is supposedly happening in the real world, which in America, apparently in the UK, obviously across the world, no one knows, like anyone in the Muggles, as they're called, non-magic people, don't really know that there's magic in the world.
Okay.
And they go to great lengths in the UK to sort of hide that from them, but there's no animosity necessarily between the two groups. There's a little bit of hatred on the fringes of, a little bit of discrimination between Muggles and magicians. But here, in the 20s, they're setting up more of a world where we're seeing a little bit of the wizards living in fear of being discovered.
Okay, is that in the UK and America, or
I
just
don't know
America?
about the 20s, but in America here we're seeing sort of they're alluding to the fact that there are organizations out there, and J.K. Rowling has come out and said that it's going to center around a group of people called no-mages. So no-MAJs.
Oh, so it's like they have
but
no-magics.
No-magics who are out to basically ferret out the wizards.
Got it.
And pretty much drive them out of society. 'cause
Okay,
they don't believe in them.
okay. So it's the enemy of these guys.
Enemy of these guys. Right.
Cool. So the Makusa, is that a thing that was talked about in Harry Potter, which is the
Not that I
the
remember.
Magical Congress of the United States of America?
No.
Okay.
I mean, potentially. Not that I remember, but I'm not.
Okay.
It's a possibility. Now here we're seeing that suitcase again.
So this is
which
the first look at our boy, Newt.
Newt Scamander. That is the suitcase that he brings to New York, which causes all the trouble.
Oh.
And unfortunately, some have
Here we
All right,
see.
there we go.
This is awesome. This is Colin Farrell. It's the first time
Colin
we're seeing
Farrell.
him as Graves.
Graves, a character that is the president's assistant.
Right.
So I'm assuming, based on his look and just based on kind of what's going on here, I'm making the jump that he is like, all right, he's the one that's tasked to find those guys that are trying to, show everyone the wizards and stop them.
Right.
You
So
know?
presumably the entire story centers around that case, and that we know that Dan Fogler's character, Jacob Kowalski, is a Muggle or a no-mage who has accidentally let some creatures out, and we can see here the devastation that they've caused. Now Graves seemingly is probably tasked, you're right, by the president of the Congress to go after these creatures and figure out what the hell's going on. Although he looks a little evil to me. Just putting it out there.
I mean,
I don't know if he's going to be a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm with a name like Graves.
With a name like Graves, probably a bad guy, but we'll see.
Here you go, though. How does that make you feel?
Wow, that makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
Like it looks like the cobblestone streets of Diagon Alley, or it may be a hippogriff scale. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I forget which one has scales.
It was open.
Just a smidge.
Mr. Scamander.
So just a little bit of a smidge of a character. Of some of these creatures have gotten out, and presumably all hell is going to break.
So
loose.
what was that spell there? Do you know?
I don't know that spell. Presumably it was one of the incantations that freezes people. Maybe.
Okay. It looks like he's attacking something.
Yeah. It was probably a charm, one of the freezing charms, but I'm not quite sure. You never know.
Okay.
It could be a disarming charm, but these are creatures, so you're probably going to want to stop them.
Okay, cool. Got it.
And then here we're seeing the logo for the first, well, not for the first time, we're seeing the logo in action. The famous sort of like we're flying through the letters and,
Yeah, of course.
the
Classic.
blue flames of Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
That's a dope logo though. Pause it on it real quick.
Let's go back. There you
I'm
go.
like look at the S kind of looks like a dragon.
Yeah, it looks like a dragon or a basilisk tail,
Yeah.
or so it's. I like that they're expanding it, and I like that we're getting
it's-
more Harry Potter. And even though it's not necessary, I know it's not Harry Potter, Okay, but this is the best we got.
Yeah, and
So let's go with it.
I think that they know what they're doing. Obviously, movie universes are kind of the in thing right now, and they will be for the coming years. And I think that, Harry Potter, in a lot of ways, was one of the big founders of that, I think, where just in the fact that it was a movie franchise that lasted, it was not just a trilogy, right?
Yes.
Like, up until Harry Potter, most things were just trilogies.
Yeah, I mean, you had like Lord of the Rings trilogies, you had Star Wars trilogies,
Yeah,
so anything
Back
that
to
was
the
necessarily a
Future.
kids or a fantastic trilogy, or I'm sorry, a fantasy trilogy, would generally stick to about 3 movies.
Yeah.
She blew it out of the water, J.K., when I say she, I refer to Miss J.K. Rowling, when she decided to make Harry Potter's schooling career 7 years.
Yeah, so
we got
7
8
books,
movies.
8 movies.
Right.
So, this is kind of them being like, all right, you guys are all doing this universe thing, we can do that too.
Well, it's awesome because, just like Star Wars, there's so much mythology that she built up into these stories. So many different aspects that, when you were reading the books or watching the movies, you're like, that is fascinating. I wish I knew more about that. Obviously, like, for instance, like Nicholas Flamel, the person that, the guy who made the Sorcerer's Stone. Stories like that you're like, I would actually like to see more of that. So let's start adding to that in the world. And my guess is she's going to do more of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's a lot more coming, and I have a feeling that these movies are going to have a lot more references to the Harry Potter that we know and love.
I would assume so.
As we see more.
I would assume so.
Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah.
that's the things you missed in the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them trailer. Did we miss anything? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, thank you very much for joining us. You can follow me on Twitter at Tim Geddes. You can follow this guy where?
At Nick_Scarpino.
I'm so sorry that you have that underscore, Nick.
What are you going to do?
It pains me.
I know. Yeah. It happens. Okay. Little known fact about Newt's commander. Hufflepuff.
Really?
Yeah, no one's perfect.